Hi there, folks. Thank you for joining me for the laboratory update for the Phoenix Aurelius Research Academy for May 2023. May was filled full of lots of things. We started off by filtering 15.5 gallons of spagurzyme and replenishing our supply of 4-ounce and 8-ounce bottles, which are ready to ship. So that is one of our most popular products. So if you order those, then they are now a little bit easier for us to fulfill. We also labeled and added a total of 131 new spagyric tinctures to our apothecary shelves, and those are currently being added to the online spagyric apothecary as we speak. I know for a fact that July 2023's spagyrics of the month are on there, and at least 15 new ones. And in fact, we created a whole new design to the page called Upcoming Spagyric Releases. So if you hover over the apothecary drop-down option, you can go to Upcoming Spagyric Releases, and you will see those 15 that are directly added to the apothecary and made available right now. Over the coming days and weeks, all 131 of these will be made available. The only caveat to that is that even though you'll be able to see them, some of them aren't going to be releasing until their Spagyrics of the Month date. So that brings me to my next point. We now have Spagyrics of the Month picked out for the next 14 months. That takes us through August of 2024. And in total, we will have 458 spagyric products on our apothecary shelves. And the vast majority of those, I would say at least 430 of them, are going to be available on our online spagyric apothecary. So with the spagyrics of the month, the way that it's going to show is that let's say that you find one of our products that's going to release in December 2023. That's not out yet. It's going to show up on the website, but it will say this product will release in December 2023. And if you want to be notified for when it releases, then all you have to do is click that little button that says notify me when it's back in stock. And then the second that it's made available, which will be December 1st, 2023, the system will automatically send you an email letting you know that that product is available so that you can secure your purchase. Also, it gives people the opportunity to find out what is coming up in our apothecary and whether they want to sign up for Spagyrics of the Month that month in order to get a discount on the Spagyric of the Month purchase. So yeah, there's that. In order to add all 131 of those tinctures that we just got done with to our existing 300 and something offerings, over 330 offerings that we already had, that required a severe organization of our spagyric apothecary shelves. So we consolidated our bottling solutions. There were a lot of things that I made in big batches that had run down to a very small quantity. What we were able to do is consolidate those smaller quantities into smaller bottles, 16-ounce bottles, so that everything is as uniform as possible inside of there, and to make room for all of these new guys. So that took up a lot of time, but we reorganized the entire apothecary. That includes all of the old releases, all of the new releases. We updated labels and bottles, and we are now working on updating all of those on the website so that the website names of all of the products match exactly how we have them here in our spagyric apothecary. It makes it a little bit easier for our fulfillment, but it doesn't affect the product or anything, or even the search factor. So like, for instance, a good example of this is galangal. We had alpine galangal in our apothecary just online as alpine galangal, but we've recently added Katsumadai galangal seed. Now they're both a galangal, so the way that we changed the labels was galangal, alpine for our spagyric apothecary, and then also galangal seed, Katsumadai. And so this makes it easier for us to be able to find them, because every single one of our products in our spagyric apothecary shelves are alphabetized for the easiest fulfillment possible. And that's the way that the names are going to show up very soon, if not already, on the website. But if you type in alpine galangal or just galangal of any sort, it's going to show you all of the different options that we have. They'll all come up, along with any other blogs or other products like formulations, etc., that may have that or mention that. Our search bar feature is extraordinary. And in fact, we plan on creating a video to show you guys how to use it, because all the time we get people asking us, well, what product should I take for liver and gallbladder? And even though it's not that simple, it's not, oh, I have liver and gallbladder, so let me just take these liver and gallbladder herbs. You can run a search query and just type in liver or liver gallbladder, and then every single one of our products that mentions liver or liver gallbladder are going to show up on there. So we'll be making a video showing people how to utilize the search bar function of our apothecary, because that will help you find the product or products that are probably going to be the best suited for you. But yeah, that reorganizing of the apothecary was a solid 2 to 3 days of work for Noriana, Owen, and I. We also blended up and bottled a 3 times concentrated Shilajit project, or product, I guess I should say, as well as over 1,700 bottles of Polyrhacus ant spagyric tincture for Dr. Tom Cowan. Those are now available on drtomcowan.com, so be sure to visit his site if you're interested in picking those up. I think we are currently running very low on Polyrhacus ourselves in our apothecary, so if there's ever a moment where we don't have it, you might consider just going over to his website and trying to pick it up. And also, he's the only person that we are making a 3 times concentrated product of Shilajit for. What that means is that you don't have to take as much. So we sell ours in a 1 ounce bottle, and the same amount of Shilajit that's in that 1 ounce bottle is now in a 10 ml bottle on his site. So instead of taking 10 to 15 drops of our product, you just have to take 3 to 5 drops of his product. It's the exact same product, the same exact ingredients, just his is more concentrated. So if you're interested in that, visit his website. Let's see, we also created a new standardized batch of Protemia over here. Those of you who have followed my work for many years will know that I extol the virtues of a product called Protemia, but unfortunately, because there are some scheduled substances that aren't legal in all 50 states, I'm not able to sell this formula online. But what I was able to do was do all of the research for it over the last several months, I guess, and to be able to standardize its production and its formulation and the ingredients that we use and in what proportions and so on and so forth. It is hands down a different product than I've ever created in the past. In the past, I was using different methods of measurement and standardization in my IDF analysis, and also in the research and development split test batches that we made over here at the Phoenix Aurelius Research Academy. We were able to find that there are very particular ways of making this that is going to be far more potent and far more effective than other ways, and that's changed the ratios of the products in there quite a bit. And we also found out that 2 of the ingredients needed to be made with an 80% spirit instead of a 95% spirit in order to draw out the majority of the medicinal components in that. And so, yeah, it's an entirely different product than what I've made in the past, and it's far more potent, whereas before I could easily take 70, 80, 90 drops at a time as a dose, which is a huge dose. I have now been able to take that down to about 5 drops to 10 drops. So it's back in the range of where spagyric potency should be, and it's all just based on the proportion and the ratios of the different ingredients that are found inside of there. But again, it's kind of a moot point. It's something that I did, so I wanted to mention it here, but I can't really sell it to anybody. But people who are having endocrinological issues or various symptoms specifically pertaining to dopamine production, serotonin production, and biosynthesis and reuptake and all of these other issues, this is a very, very potent medicine. And one day I hope that the legislation in the United States changes so that I can begin to distribute this remedy, because everybody that I've used it on, including myself, has nothing but rave reviews about it. I've also been researching a quick ultrasonicated tincture standard over here for the Phoenix Aurelius Research Academy. I'm currently preparing to split test the potency of the ultrasonicated method versus our standard method of the exact same herbs, the exact same quality, exact same starting ingredients, everything. The only variable is going to be the ultrasonicated method versus the standard method. Why would I use the ultrasonicated method? Well, there's a lot of growing scientific research over the past decade showing that the ultrasonication actually drastically increases the solubility of the materials, by being able to take microscopic bubbles of ethanol or whatever the solvent is and being able to put it around the tiny little granules of material, biomass material, and being able to extract it because of better surface exposure. So what we have found so far, and there's still some work to be done on this, but what we've found so far is that we can actually make, in a pinch, a spagyric tincture in a 1 hour period from the time that we take the raw herbs and the alcohol and blend them together and then throw them in the ultrasonicator to finishing the salts and doing the final filtration in 1 hour. And we are seeing, and also tasting and having the same organoleptic experiences in that 1 hour time frame that it would normally take 22 days to complete with our current standard, which we can call the traditional standard. And that traditional standard, because I use a blender, is even faster than the standard that I learned from, which was to just powder things in a mortar and pestle and then be able to let them sit for 40 degrees in an incubator for X amount of period of time. Typically, they say the longer the better. We're finding that the longer the better doesn't always apply because all of the extractable constituents, if you perform it right, should be extracted within about the first 14 days during our standard. And now we can do that actually in about 25 minutes, extract all of those with the ultrasonication method. So we still have some tests to run. This isn't a conclusive report on this, but it is definitely something I've been very excited about because it gives us the opportunity now to be able to create faster batches for other individuals who are interested in stocking spagyric tinctures. And it gives us the opportunity to make smaller batches. So like, for instance, if any of you were interested in having, let's say that you take an herb every day and you want it in spagyric form, you could contact me and say, hey, Phoenix, I have this herb that I source. I want it made into a spagyric tincture. I can make a pretty small batch of it and get it done within an hour's time frame and get it right back out the door. For you guys, that drastically decreases not only the time that it takes, but also the money that it takes because it's not taking up as much lab time nor lab space. And so it's working towards making things far more economical. And again, when we talk about making spagyric medicines available to the masses, which is ideally what I would like to see in the future, even if not in the near future, is being able to go to an apothecary or a pharmacy or whatever else and having spagyric tinctures there as an option. And this is one step that could put us a little bit closer there. So still have research to do, but it's very promising. Let's see, we also made a research and development batch of Strophanthus seed using a new supplier of seeds. I was able to find a new supplier and we were able to order, Dr. Tom Cowan was able to order some of those and get a batch of sample seeds sent in to me so that I can make a small research and development batch of this. And we are currently in the process of vetting out various analytical laboratories to be able to perform a Wabane analysis. Wabane is also known as G. Strophanthin, and it's the quote-unquote main active constituent inside of that product. And we need that somewhat standardized within a certain range, like 25 milligrams per milliliter is ideally what we're shooting for. And, this batch of seeds that we got is, in my opinion, head and shoulders above the last batch that we had made for them. And so I think that it could possibly be more potent, but maybe it's just that the seeds are more fresh or of a higher quality too. But we need to test that because when we're working with a cardiac glycoside like G. Strophanthin or Wabane, you have to be very careful as to what the dosage is. And just like Paracelsus said, the difference between a medicine and a toxin is really the dosage. And so if we don't get this right, it could hurt more people than what it could help. So we need to really dial that in, and that's the phase that we're in right now, is making sure that we have a precise standard for the production of this remedy over here for their purposes. But what that means is that before long, those of you, of which there are many, who are looking for a Strophanthus seed and don't have any resources for it really in the United States, especially a spagyric tincture of it, we might be able to have that on the shelves on drtomcowan.com as well as our own website, phoenixaurelius.org, hopefully within the next 90 days or so. So keep an eye out for that. Let's see, we also made a new 5-gallon batch of lemon peel spagyric tincture, and even though we're currently in June right now, June 2nd, we just got that filtered, and we are preparing next Monday to make a 50-bottle batch of spagyrizomal vitamin C. If you haven't already, go to the website, check out the spagyrizomal vitamin C product page, and sign up to be notified when that is available. As all of you should know by now, we never ship spagyrizomal vitamin C between June 21st and September 21st, basically between the summer solstice and the fall equinox, because it's just too hot and it goes rancid and it's not good. It compromises the quality of the product. So we will be making that available next week, and then it will no longer be available over the summer months. So if you want to get a bottle of that, be sure to be notified as soon as it releases, and always when it releases, we always send out an email blast anyway, but you will get an email notification the second it is marked in stock, which is usually about 12 to 24 hours before we send out the email to everybody else, so you get to be notified first. Let's see, we also started a 1-gallon batch of Triphala spagyric tincture for my upcoming webinar presentation on Triphala that is happening on June 23rd with Ryan Sternagel at thesternmethod.com. They specialize in cancer and also skin problem like dermatitis, psoriasis, eczema problems, different types of things like that, but especially they're known for their work with cancer. I've been a guest on their show and with Ryan Sternagel a couple of times, but he invited me back again, and so one of the things I want to talk about is constitutions and energetics, and the easiest way to do that, really, of all of the different systems that exist, because I'm not ready to talk about the spagyric method that I've been creating as part of Aurelian Spagyria quite yet. The easiest way for most Westerners to get behind that idea is the concepts of Ayurveda. And so I will be talking about Triphala, which is a tridoshic herb, or a tridosh herb blend that is composed of 3 different fruits. It's a wonderful formulation, Triphala Churna. I strongly suggest it to just about everybody. We do have it in the apothecary right now. It's one of the Spagyric of the Month releases for June 2023, but if you are interested in learning more about it, I just suggest that you hop onto your favorite search engine and type in Triphala 2023 medicinal benefits. It goes way beyond what we are legally allowed to list on our website, and there is a tremendous amount of information about its anti-cancer effects and even skin benefiting effects through more scientific research. So like through ResearchGate and New England Journal of Medicine, and all of these other different peer-reviewed medical published papers, you will end up finding that there's a tremendous amount of data on Triphala and research that's been done, most of which are going to be in vitro or in animal studies. There is still some human studies that need to be done on those things, but it offers a tremendous promise. And of course, because it's tridosh, there are very few people, if any, that wouldn't benefit from Triphala spagyric tincture. So we've made a 1-gallon batch just so that we can keep up with all of the people who are going to be interested from the Stern method. We also made a custom 450 ml batch of lungwort spagyric tincture for one of our friends who was going to lightning in a bottle. Any of you who have been to festivals know that with all of the dancing on bare ground, especially in sandy or dirt-like environments, there is a tremendous amount of dust and particulate matter that people are breathing in. Lungwort is a very safe and powerful expectorant that helps to cough up and helps to remove all of that gunk and debris from the lungs and the respiratory pathway. And so we were able to make a quick spagyric tincture in 1 hour flat of using the ultrasonicated method of this lungwort spagyric tincture and send it off with him to sell to various attendees at Lightning in a Bottle. So that's very cool. So that was the majority of what went on in the lab. Behind the scenes, we worked relentlessly on the website and various structures. A lot of structural and organizational stuff like spreadsheet processing and so on and so forth had to go on. But right now, if you go to the website on our About Us section, you will see that we have added some things. And some of these are like, our second to last draft. I'm still making just a few edits to this, but we now talk a lot more about our structure. We talk a lot more about the quality of the products that we use, how we don't do anything in the laboratory unless all of the lab operators are in a very healthy and positive space. We also talk about using the astronomological standards and about using the IDF standards and running research batches, how your cells actually support our research. There's so many different types of things that I've talked about on podcasts in the past that we've never had time or availability to be able to put on paper, let alone to put it on the website. And we've spent weeks and weeks and weeks writing draft after draft after draft and condensing it down to be able to get it down to like 2 or 3 sentence phrases that are able to consolidate things and be able to let people know about our mission, our vision, our market positioning, like all of these different types of things, as well as our goal. And something I'm personally really excited about, which this portion isn't live quite yet, but it will be probably within the next week or two, is talking about Aurelian spagyric medicine. And again, we're calling Aurelian spagyric medicine by that name because my last name's Aurelius, and this is the form of spagyric medicine that I have pioneered and created. And it differs pretty substantially from spagyric medicine as defined by Paracelsus. We incorporate everything Paracelsus said, but there have been so many advancements in terms of technologies, in terms of methodologies, in terms of labware, in terms of even items of pharmacopoeia that have been created since the time of Paracelsus. We are bridging the gaps between those Renaissance practices and modern practices. And so I'm really excited to unveil this and bring this to the world. It's going to continue to be trickled out little by little. For years now, I have been running research programs and vetting various ideas and philosophies and theories, and even standardizing the way that pharmacopoeia needs to be able to be made and taught, etc., so that we can actually bring this to the world. Standardization is the very first thing, and then now, before long, we'll be introducing this to other people and seeing if they can learn it and obtain the same results, which is basically like a peer review phase. And if they can, then the next phase is bringing it into a state of production and hopefully running some scientific double-blind tests and other different types of things to see what the efficacy of these forms of medicine are in comparison to placebo and other different types of controls that we can test against. So we're ever moving towards our goal, and we're moving there very quickly. These last few years have been so amazing. They've been very, very difficult for me. I've been much busier than what I would like to be. But when I look back and I see all of the terrain that has been traversed and the progress that we're making, it's all worth it. And realistically, it's all because of your support. So again, I want to thank you so much for every purchase that you've made, for everything that you've funded, especially for those of you who are part of the spagyric research programs. Like, you have helped me learn an immense amount. And I know for a fact that we're going to be able to help so many people here in the near future just with the things that I'm putting together, starting now and moving into the future, into the next year or so. And so, yeah, from the bottom of my heart, sincerely, thank you. At any rate, that about covers it. If there's anything that we can do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at support@phoenixaurelius.org. And I guess we'll just see you again next month.